began exploring ways to franchise PK around the country. But I want to begin by stipulating that as I'm asked to reflect back 30 years or 40 years in terms of work in the nonprofit arena, I think we've evolved to the point that I'd like to invite us to collectively stop referring to ourselves as a nonprofit community-based organizations. I think a more accurate term would be a higher profit community-based organizations. While we do not generate immediate capital or income, we are doing work that produces and changes and manifests itself in improving the lives of many in our community. I want to congratulate all my colleagues that are present at this luncheon for all the work you've done, for the dedication you've given to the work that you do. I think all of us would agree that quality and post-secondary education, healthcare, housing, legal services should not be a privilege, but should be a right for every human being in our society to have. And I think it's the work that we all collectively do in our respective work, and I want to congratulate all of you for the many years that you have dedicated your lives to improving the lives of others. Recently I was able to attend the Abrazos Award, and I got to see the collective coming together of the diversity of our community, celebrating not only the students but the elders and everyone in between. And I think that certainly represents what all of us are about. PK, which this year will celebrate its 20th anniversary, more than 400,000 families have now gone through our program, and we have been able to see dramatic changes, dramatic results. And as a result of it, that's why we're in Arizona now. Arizona State University invited us a couple of years ago to establish the program. We're now working not only 12 offices throughout the state of California, but we now have offices in several other states, either best practices or replication models in full. PK started out believing that the only way we were going to change the educational system, and the two principal founders were Reverend Vahak Martirosyan and Dr. Alberto Ochoa. They felt after many years of trying to deal with the plight of the low-income families in general, Latino children in particular, that we're not getting a good education, that we're not seeing the changes that needed to happen in the school system. They concluded that the only way to make the school system accountable for low-income families, and for Latinos in particular, was to engage the parents, to get the parents involved with their children at home, and to get the parents involved with the schools where their children attend. And that has been our drive, to provide the parents information that, according to the Harvard Civil Rights Study of 2005, 1 in 2 Latino and African American students will not graduate from high school. And that reality, given the fact that in California every 2 children being born, 1 is a Latino, we cannot allow that to continue. I think as I have witnessed the evolution of higher profit community-based organizations, I think we can all agree upon that we have evolved very much into a similar business concept. We all know the importance of strategic planning. We know the importance of marketing. We know the importance of accountability evaluations. And all of us are now using that because funders, rightfully so, if they are going to put their money into our efforts and our work, they have a right to ask, how exactly are you impacting the communities you claim to serve? PK, for example, 2 years ago, San Diego State University offered to conduct the first longitudinal study on the Parent Institute. It went back to 1996 and 97 and identified 351 Latino students whose parents had gone through the Parent Institute classes. They came out of high schools, as I mentioned earlier, that had a 43 to 50% dropout rate. These students, whose parents had gone through the Parent Institute, had a 93% high school graduation rate and a 79.2 college-bound rate. 51% went to community colleges, that did not surprise us, and 28% went straight into a 4-year institution. San Diego State was very gratified to learn that 54% of the students that went into a 4-year institution went to San Diego State. And it was a result of that study and several presentations that we made to Chancellor Charles Reed a couple of years ago that he entered into a historic agreement with the Parent Institute, gave us close to $2 million over 3 years for the PICA to serve 15 K through 12 schools in the 23 CSU campus regions throughout California. We completed this past December the first year of that agreement and had overwhelming success. And we hope to expand the agreement and extend the years that we will be doing this, because when we connect the families to the universities, we have our children with a vision that they can live up to in terms of graduating from high school. In fact, every parent now that graduates from PICA will receive a college admission certificate, and that certificate stipulates that if their children graduate from high school, and it lists the children on the certificate, and meet the admission requirements, a slot is reserved for them at a CSU in California. And so this for us has been a major move to connect our families. And we teach our classes now in 16 languages. The last language a year or so ago was Punjabi for the children coming from Afghanistan. And we are committed in every community that we go into that if we find 15 or more families that need the classes in a language other than English, that we will recruit people from their community, have them go through our class, have them learn our techniques, our methodology, and then send them back to their communities to educate their families on how to navigate the school system and make the school system work for them. In my reflections, again, going back to the early years, many nonprofits, or higher profits as I now refer to us, stemmed from an advocate role, responding to conditions, both political, economic, and otherwise, that were affecting our community. And over the years, the word advocacy started to connote or take on a negative word. And yet we all know, and I think we all agree, that service and advocacy are just two different sides of the same coin. When we teach a person from our community on how to start a business and how to develop a business, how to be a first-time home buyer, how to get an education and make sure they get post-secondary education. We are advocating for these people to realize the dreams that every family has for their children. And so I believe that we're advocating there's a whole lot of different ways you can define or interpret advocacy, but I think it's all in the same, it has to be in terms of service.